Hello and welcome to my first ever YouTube video. So as you can see, I'm building in The Sims 4 and it's inspired by the sculpture on the left. Inspired meaning that of course I don't exactly replicate the statue. That wouldn't really be a build, would it? But of course I wanted people to feel like, oh yeah, I can see that sculpture in the build. So I try to do that. I hope people can actually see it. Here I'm just looking at the different swatches, but I decided that the default swatch of red was really the best option. And now I'm trying to find the right grey to reflect the silver of the statue. Of course, silver can't really be replicated by grey, but it's fine, I think. And now I'm searching for red. It was actually difficult to find a red that reflected the red of the sculpture, so I didn't even really try, just a little bit. And the white I chose to be a neutral color for the rest of the build. It was difficult to get into the nooks and crannies here, and I needed to redo the white. And then I decided it looked odd, so I increased the wall height, of course, just to make it reflect it even more. Yeah. And then the grey stone trim. Now I'm doing a roof here because I decided that a half wall as a roof replacement would look odd, and I made it as low as possible. And I made a glass roof because I thought it would look pretty inside the build. Yeah. And the next thing I did was like how to get up and down, and I played with the idea of stairs, but I thought they would take up too much space, so I used a ladder. And we do have ladders now, so I was really happy. Now you can actually see inside the build, which is also a good idea. Yeah, and next I chose a door. First I wanted to, because it's a really tall wall height, I wanted to use that door, but I decided on the back that would look odd. So I took a smaller door, and then I thought it would look better to have the same door in the front and the back. And then I noticed that I actually needed a roof here as well, so I just copied the other one. And of course, roof trims. I always forget that for my builds, at least at the start. Yeah. And now I'm just laying everything out. I wasn't sure. I wanted to do the kitchen and the dining room downstairs, so the more formal things downstairs, and then the higher up you go in the build, the more personal the things would be. So the next floor would be the living room and maybe a study, and the top floor would just be the bedroom and an ensuite bathroom maybe. That's what I thought about, and that's what I did. But then I thought, well, I need a bathroom downstairs as well, and then that weird long bit on the side, I decided, well, I would need to wall that off anyway, so I just put a small bathroom in there. Now you can see how I laid out the living and room and study. And then I decided that I kind of wanted to do something here as well, and I put a chess table there. And then of course I needed to get outside on that balcony, and I needed a door. And yeah, that's what I did there. Afterwards I put in some windows. Towards the back I thought, well, you can just do the large ones. It's not like there are going to be that many people that could look into it. And then in the front I wanted smaller windows, so I did that. And of course in the bathroom you don't really want really tall windows either, because who wants to have someone looking into their bathrooms? And then the next floor up, of course, the wall height is a little bit shorter there, so I didn't go with the tallest. windows either. And then I noticed that the room I did there for the ensuite just wasn't working with that window because the archway was blocking it weirdly. So yeah, I needed to get rid of that as well. And now I'm jumping from one floor to the other with the windows, but I just placed them, and I wasn't quite sure if they would be the right ones, but it was fine, I think. I think that's also the windows I decided on at the end. Yeah, the smaller ones there for the bathrooms and the front, and the tall ones in the back, mostly. Of course, not always. And then I wanted to hide that weird thing there, but it looked weird because I didn't have the exact gray of the walls. So yeah, I went with columns and then the weird things. I don't really know how they're called. Spandrels? Yeah. And of course I needed to support all the other things as well, so I put some columns there. I wasn't quite sure if the columns I chose were the right ones, but in the end I decided they looked the best and were the most unintrusive. And then I wanted to make a ladder upstairs to the, I don't know, roof, and make a place where you could actually use the roof. And also it was better to use that part of the balcony upstairs for a way to get up onto the roof, because otherwise it would look odd. I think you can't really place anything on that balcony. And then I was back in the kitchen, and yeah, I had laid everything out, and now I actually moved the furniture that I actually wanted into the different rooms, and I started with the kitchen. I thought about cupboards, but it would look odd because the wall is so high, and I went with shelves instead. Of course, that meant that I actually needed to place things on those shelves, but that would be a problem later. I wanted to do it inside, but it looked odd behind the rain chute, so I thought, well, many people have those kinds of things outside, at least where I lived we do, so I just placed it outside. And then I wanted to go for a little bit of a black and white scheme, because honestly the house was pretty modern, and I just decided that it would look good. Now I'm placing things on the shelves. At first I just thought, searched for things to actually put there, and then I did it with the 9 key. And yeah, I placed them with the Alt key, and it was actually, I think it looks fine how I did it. Of course, I don't really know. And I think later I actually made that milk jug a little bit smaller, because it looks so big up there. And yeah, a little bit of a few things up there as well. Of course, I made that smaller as well, I think. Yeah, here, I made it smaller. And then I searched for something else to put up there, and I thought, why not a plant? It looks fine then. And yeah, the next thing I did was to put a different chess table there, because again, the style was quite modern, so I searched for something that looked a little bit more like that. Now I wanted to put something there, and I went with a cupboard, because honestly you can never have too many cupboards. So yeah, that's what I did there. The dining table I chose, again, a modern theme, but then I thought it looked a little bit too black and white, so I think the rug that I chose is a little bit more colorful, even though not really. And yeah, then the lights I put in, and the next thing I did, I think, oh yeah, I changed the letters because I wanted them to be black to fit in better. And now we have a little bit of color, even though it's not really. But I like that rock, especially with the with that a little bit of yellow in it. It looks cool. Yeah. Next thing I did was the walls in there. Usually, I'm not usually like that. Usually, I put in the walls earlier, but in this build, I kind of didn't. I don't know why. And the next thing I did, I'm cluttering everything up. So that means plants for the dining room. And yeah, I think in those corners, so they actually look really good. And honestly, you need some plants because otherwise it would look really, really boring in there. And I thought the yellow swatch of that plant looked really good with that. And now I'm just fiddling with everything so it fits in there actually. And of course, it's always going to be quite a while until that is finished. And the next thing I thought about putting a painting there, but it just wouldn't fit anything. And the mirror just looked odd because it was so small in comparison to the wall. And then the next thing I did was those curtains, but then I noticed, of course, yeah, the plants are way too far back. So I need to change that as well again, but it's fine. It actually looks really good, I think. And then I needed to move the dining room or the chairs and the desk a little bit further into the room as well, because otherwise it would look too squished onto one side. Yeah, and then another rug underneath those chairs and the chest table, just to make it more coherent, of course. And yeah, that I thought that wall needed a little bit more, something more, so I put some neon signs there. Yeah, I think that was mostly it with that room. Oh yeah, I changed that. Thought it looked better. And yeah, then just a little more, few more clutter items, and then I would be finished with this room. And I moved on to the study / living room area, and I put desk in the corner and the shelves here, and the table underneath it, and of course then clutter items for the study area. And then the next thing was of course the couches and the chairs. I think the living room actually is a little bit big because there's only 2 people living there, and honestly in the living room there could be 6 people sitting there, so it's a little bit big. But yeah, I just couldn't help myself. And honestly, they could have friends over if it would be a real build. Of course it's not, it's just a Sims build. But yeah, I'm fiddling with it so it actually fits everything, and I decided to put the speakers beneath the TV so you can listen to it really well. I don't know, I like that big TV. I think it fills the wall really nicely. And then some plants and clutter items, which is also always a must have, because otherwise it looks so bare without it, I think, a room. And it looks boring otherwise. And I'm okay with that. So like finding clutter items and filling the space. But of course I recognize I only have base game and the free holiday stuff. So I don't have that many options, which sometimes makes it a little bit hard to find enough variation in the clutter items. Yeah, I really like that wallpaper that is on the wall there, and I wanted to find another wallpaper to make it so that the trim at the bottom doesn't look odd with that wallpaper, because I think like the whole room would just be too much, so I decided to make the room plain blue. And I really like that swatch with of the wallpaper in the bathroom that I put there. You just saw it for a second there. I don't know why, it speaks to me. I like the turquoise and the teal and the grey. I think it looks nice. But of course we are in the bedroom now, so yeah, I put the bed there. I could only put one bedside table beside it, because it just would look odd, because you couldn't go to the dresser in that corner there. And then I put plants there, and then I thought, well, it blocks the door a little, so I put the painting there, and now we can move the door freely. So I just moved it to the side a little bit, and now I think you can actually walk through it. I didn't play test it. I was too lazy to do that actually. So I don't know if the Sims can actually walk through that door, but I think it's fine. And yeah, just now it's again clutter items. So some lamps, and of course I forgot to do that in the living room. I'm going back to it in a second, I think. But first I did the bathroom here. So here you can actually see the swatches of that wall color. I really like it, the tile and then the grey. I think it looks elegant. I don't know. And I actually found out just in this build that those golden hand towels have a teal swatch, so I thought, well, it fits perfectly. And here I decided the shower just doesn't look, the color doesn't look quite right, and it looks odd, so I changed it. And yeah, the next thing I did is the downstairs bathroom, because I actually forgot that it was there. So I just got everything from the bathroom upstairs and did the same downstairs, which was a little bit difficult sometimes, but it was fine. And here I actually go back to the living room area and change out the light fixtures. And yeah, I actually wanted to put in a rug underneath, because I think it ties in the space really well. And yeah, the next thing I did was the outside area. So the balconies, the roof, and the way to the door. And on the roof I put some lounge chairs and something to sit on. Of course I only put 2 there, because I don't think anyone else will be there. That area is just for the people that live there. I assume a couple. I didn't actually think very much about who would live there. I just wanted to build it. And yeah, just some planters and some plants. And yeah, I went down to that balcony, and I thought, well, you can't really place anything there, so I just put plants there to fill the space. And then I decided to put a gnome army there. Actually, it looks funny, I think, and it fills the space. Then some pictures there, and the next thing I did was the second balcony, and I just copied basically what was on the balconies above it and on the rooftop. Yeah, and then I actually wanted to do something different on the wall there, but I just couldn't find anything useful. And yeah, now I'm downstairs with the outside, and I'm just putting in some trash cans and some, oh yeah, I forgot the lights actually, so I put that in. downstairs as well, of course. And now I think we're, with the area outside with paved areas, of course. And then I wanted to move the whole lot over a little bit, so I did that. And then I put in the bushes as, actually as fences, basically. So just to make some separation from the rest of the neighborhood. And then, of course, other landscaping, so some trees. And then I put the sculpture next to the house just to actually make like the comparison with it easier for everyone. And then I didn't really know what to put there with the rest, so I just put a pool there, and then a grill, I think, is the next thing I'm going to do after the pool, of course. Just fill the area outside, mainly to make it look less empty. And again, many chairs and lounge possibilities, and fiddling it so it looks good. Even though I could have put more lounge chairs there, because, well, if they have friends over, why not? But I couldn't be bothered, or I forgot. I don't really remember, actually. Now I'm putting trees down to fill the space, and the last thing I did outside was some land land painting, so it looks more realistic, because it would be a little dirty onto the trees, of course, and the path would be a little bit rough, and of course around the hot tub it would also be a little bit darker. And then the last thing I did was put a mailbox in, and then I also changed the swatches of the windows, because I forgot to do that earlier. The only windows I did was the first 3 that I placed next to the sunroof. So that was the build and the video as well. Now you can see some screenshots of the build, and I hope you consider subscribing to me on YouTube, and of course you can download the build from the gallery as well. Thanks. Bye.